Another follower asked that I review his chief gear, and so I'm going to start at the top. His Lancer gear is pretty far back from his infantry gear and even his marksman gear. So I would recommend to him that he get his Lancer gear up to at least gold, no stars, before he moves anything else as far as his infantry gear goes. He can go ahead and up the marksman ring to 2 stars, or the marksman ring to 3 stars, and the staff to 3 stars. But I wouldn't do anything with the infantry until he gets that Lancer gear higher up. Now, a strong infantry does make you strong defensively, but one of the things you need to remember is whenever you garrison anything, you are going to use probably a 60% infantry and a 40% Lancer ratio, because Lancers kill. Like infantry defend, Lancers kill. And so if you look at any report from an attack or from a defense, you're going to see that your Lancers are what has killed the most. And so by neglecting Lancers, you're actually hurting yourself a little, because you're not building them up to be strong enough. Now, you still want your infantry to be stronger when it comes to chief gear, but you don't want to neglect your Lancers, even though, they kind of get a bad rap, right? But they are offensive and defensive heroes. So, I do like that his marksman staff and his infantry pants, like that's, for me, what I would consider to be almost perfect as far as the relationship those two have to each other. If it were just those two, I would go up on the pants before I went up on the staff. But again, I would prioritize the Lancer gear and then do the ring and bring that up some. And then bring all of it except for the red jacket up to where you're where the red jacket is, so that the pants are also red. And then I would go infantry, marksman, lancer, infantry, marks, like that. That's what I would recommend for his chief gear. Moving on to his charms, you can see here that he has one charm that is at 9, and the other 2 are at 5. I'm recording it, so it's a little small right now in my screen, but I think it's a 5. And you might be wondering why the big gap. Well, I think he's in Gen 6, and in Gen 7, if you have one charm at level 11, when you hit Gen 7, then an exchange shop opens and you can exchange design plans and design guides. So them being at level 5 and then that one being at 9, he's preparing for when he hits Gen 7 and he needs to push to 11. So I bet that that's the first one he upgrades next. And I'm not opposed to that, because if he's in Gen 6 already, he's going to want to be ready for Gen 7. Moving to his other infantry gear, kind of as I suspected, because even though there's a couple of things I would tweak, he seems to be a very balanced player, and he's, balancing his stuff pretty well. So, seeing his charms here at 5 is kind of what I would expect to see from a player who's a really well-balanced player. And I like to see that. I like the balance. Moving on to his Lancers, again, really balanced here. I prioritize my Lancer charms a little bit more, but we already know that he prioritizes defense and infantry, so him having higher infantry charms kind of makes sense to me. And opting to do that isn't wrong, especially if he focuses on defense or events like Crazy Joe. And again, really balanced from both sides. So that's really great to see. He's doing a pretty good job with the charms as far as keeping them balanced left to right. And, if he does events, what I was saying is if he does events like Crazy Joe, or if he's big into SVS and his city can be attacked, or Brothers in Arms when he puts out tiles to be attacked, having a strong defensive player is important. And then his marksman charms, I would actually increase his marksman charms from where they are. And I would have preferred, it's too late now, so don't do it now, but I would have preferred his level 11 charm be one of his marksman charms. Having a higher marksman charm is going to improve your bear score. And your bear gets you essence stones, so even if you don't like bear, you should still do it to get those essence stones so that you can build up your heroes. And yep, it's again, his charms are really balanced well. And the only thing that I can see with his charms is I would maybe up my marksman charms a couple more above my infantry and lancers. And then, hindsight's 2020. He can't go back and undo his level 9 infantry charm, but I would go ahead and move that one to 11 and then increase my marksman, focus on marksman next. He has Hector. I love Hector through Gen 6. Hector is my favorite defenseman unless you have Geronimo. And then Hector I love for almost everything. Geronimo I prefer for bear and rallies, but only if his widget is maxed. He's got his widget about halfway, and honestly, if he's defensive heavy, he probably wants to go ahead and bring that widget up a couple more paces to keep him until he gets to Gen 8 when we get Godot, I don't know how you say his name. Still don't. I should probably Google that before my next one. His glove and belt are higher than his goggles and boots, which is perfect. He's got his widget. I love that. Hector, I would say, is perfect. Mia, also looking good. He has prioritized the goggles and the boots, but he hasn't neglected the gloves and the belt. And her widget is a 9, which means he's almost maxed her widget. And remember, Mia, you're going to use her for bear through like Gen 10 or 12, I forget off the top of my head. So maxing her widget makes sense because she will increase your bear score. So that's looking good. And then Gwen, I told you in a previous video that I really like Gwen as the marksman through Gen 6, and he's got Gwen. Her widget's a little low, so she's not going to quite have the bang for her buck in bear rallies that she would if her widget were higher. So if I were him, I would focus on moving Hector's widget up at least to 7, and then moving Gwen's widget up a couple as well. And then I would just keep Gwen until you get to Gen 8 with Bradley. Overall, I would say that this guy is in a really good place. He's got a couple things that I would recommend he do just to make his defense and his attack both strong. But again, if he prioritizes defensive activities, then my only recommendation would really be to increase the Lancer Chief gear. Prioritizing your marksman charms will help with events like bear, and it'll also help with attack when you are leading an attack. But I will always say, this is a game, it should be fun for you, so there is no wrong answer. It's what you want to prioritize.